Without further ado, let's immediately start the weekly horoscopes for the week of November 10th to 16th with Aries. Dear Aries and rising Aries, you begin the week with an energy that brings family matters and issues related to your home environment to the forefront. As your desire to feel safe increases, spending time with your loved ones will do you good. During this period, creating a peaceful atmosphere at home and spending more time with family members may become your priority. As the week progresses, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday, your desire to focus on things that make you happy may increase. Starting a new sport, dedicating time to your hobbies, or simply engaging in activities you enjoy will refresh your spirit. If you have a child, developments or topics related to them may also come to the forefront at the beginning of the week. On Tuesday, with Jupiter beginning its retrograde motion, it's time to review the opportunities you've encountered in recent months regarding home, family, and domestic matters. If you've found a sense of peace, security, and happiness in these areas since June, you may now experience some delays, postponements, or a period of introspection. Don't let this discourage you. On the contrary, it will shed light on details you need to be aware of. When Jupiter resumes direct motion in March, you'll progress much more smoothly in these areas. On the other hand, Mercury's retrograde is still continuing. This retrograde period may bring communication issues to the surface in areas such as travel, education, trade, and overseas-related affairs. You may be more prone to misunderstandings, especially in dialogues with people who don't know you well. It's also wise to be careful with your travel plans. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars may increase your tendency to react impulsively. Be mindful of your words on social media, during travels, or in matters involving distant connections. A word spoken without thinking, a wrong move, or a reaction made in anger may lead to unnecessary tension or arguments. You may even be under an influence that increases the potential for accidents or sudden situations. Of course, these effects don't mean that such events will definitely occur, but they are potential areas to be cautious about. That's why I recommend you spend the week calmly, with control and awareness. Dear Aries and rising Aries, wishing you a beautiful, balanced, and peaceful week. Dear Taurus and rising Taurus, you are stepping into a period where communication is quite intense this week. While your dialogues with your close circle, siblings, and relatives come to the forefront, you will also make a fast start to the week by focusing on your short-term plans. You may also be very active in areas that require communication, such as social media, promotion, or publicity-related work. Starting from Tuesday, your focus will shift a bit more toward your home, family, and private life. After completing your daily tasks, you may want to withdraw to your own space, spend time at home, or deal with family matters. This week, as Jupiter begins its retrograde motion, you are entering a period of slowdown in matters related to communication and your close environment. In recent months, you may have experienced various opportunities, introductions, or developments in these areas. If you are active in fields such as sales, promotion, marketing, education, logistics, travel, or entrepreneurship, you may now face some delays or unexpected postponements in these opportunities. Jupiter's retrograde will help you realize in which steps you have fallen short in the past or which opportunities you have not fully taken advantage of. This awareness will provide you with a great advantage in the coming period. You are also in a period where you need to be careful about financial matters. Especially regarding borrowing or risky financial ventures, you may tend to repeat similar mistakes. Gaining this awareness will help you balance your cash flow much better, dear Taurus. On the other hand, Mercury's retrograde in your financial sector may bring up issues that need to be reviewed in relation to money matters. Delayed payments, forgotten debts, or calculation errors may surface during this time. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars may cause you to act hastily, impatiently, or overly boldly regarding financial issues. Under this influence, try not to make impulsive decisions or spend money out of anger or stress. It's also advisable to stay away from conflicts, especially those triggered by financial tension. In short, dear Taurus, patience, awareness, and financial balance will be very important for you this week. When you direct your energy correctly, you'll also have the chance to fundamentally improve certain situations. Wishing you a peaceful and balanced week, dear Gemini and rising Gemini. You're starting the week with an energy that brings financial matters to the forefront. During this period, you may receive some of the news or developments you've been waiting for regarding your financial situation. Especially on Tuesday and Wednesday, your entrepreneurial side will be quite strong. You may focus on projects you've planned with your close circle and feel motivated to put your short-term goals into action. This will help you spend your week productively and pleasantly. Jupiter is preparing to go retrograde this week. Having been moving through your money and earnings sector for a while, Jupiter's retrograde may bring minor delays, postponements, or a slowdown in financial matters over the next few months. You can think of this period as a time to review how well you've made use of the opportunities that have come your way recently. The universe is giving you this time to realize where you've made mistakes or in which areas you haven't fully utilized your potential. Don't worry, because once Jupiter resumes direct motion in March, you'll step into a much more prosperous financial period. If Jupiter is retrograde in your natal chart, this process won't affect you much, but if it's direct, you may feel a temporary slowdown in financial affairs. Therefore, be patient and plan your steps carefully. On the other hand, Mercury's retrograde in your marriage and relationships sector may bring some issues to the surface in your one-on-one relationships. Old topics may be brought back to the table, and unresolved matters from the past may resurface. Especially if business partnerships or romantic relationships are involved, misunderstandings in communication may occur. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars comes into play. This aspect can cause impulsive, tactless, or hurtful behavior in relationships. Be careful with your words when speaking with your partner, and avoid making decisions in anger. Words spoken without thinking or rash reactions during this time can create unnecessary tension in relationships. This week, it's important to remember that the other person is human, just like you, capable of making mistakes. Similarly, when you make mistakes, notice if the other person is trying to understand you. That's how you'll maintain balance. In short, dear Gemini, it would be wise to be cautious this week in both financial and relationship matters. If you move forward calmly, without rushing, and with awareness, you'll be able to navigate this period much more smoothly. Wishing you a joyful and peaceful week. Dear Cancer and rising Cancer, you're starting the week by focusing on your own desires and goals. This week, developments that may both surprise you and bring new awareness could come to the forefront. You may receive important news or make progress in certain areas. However, you might also feel that luck and opportunities are slightly less abundant or not as strong as in recent times. Starting Tuesday, Jupiter begins its retrograde motion in your sign. This indicates a period in which you should reflect on how well you've made use of the opportunities that have come your way. To what extent have you taken advantage of the chances you've had in recent months? Where have you acted hesitantly or without enthusiasm? Now is the time to notice these things. During this period, some possibilities and opportunities may slow down or temporarily retreat. But don't worry, dear Cancers. Even while Jupiter is retrograde, it won't leave you completely unsupported. Life is simply saying to you, take a moment to think, evaluate, and redefine your direction. In the long run, this will be a period that strengthens you. On the other hand, Mercury has begun its retrograde motion in your work, service, and health sectors. This influence may create some confusion, delays, or misunderstandings in your work environment or in communication with colleagues. You may also experience disorganization or difficulty concentrating in your daily routines. Moreover, on Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars comes into play. This aspect creates a noticeable tendency toward sudden reactions, harsh words, and impatient behavior. Speaking without thinking, reacting immediately, or stubbornly defending your opinion could create tension in relationships. Pay special attention to your communication with co-workers. It may be a period when mutual understanding is harder to maintain. This week, it's especially important to be mindful of anger management and your tone of communication. Also, try not to push yourself too hard physically. Even a minor health issue could make you feel more uncomfortable than usual during this time. In short, dear Cancers, try to stay calm this week, evaluate situations without exaggerating them, and manage your reactions consciously. By doing so, you'll be able to maintain much better balance both in your relationships and your work environment. Wishing you a beautiful, awareness-filled week. Dear Leo and Rising Leo, you may be starting the week feeling a bit unmotivated and low on energy. The influences carried over from last weekend might scatter your focus a little this week. If you've already made your plans in advance, it will be much easier for you to get things in order. However, if you've left things to the last minute or haven't been well organized, you might find it a bit tiring to get everything back on track this week. Fortunately, on Tuesday and Wednesday, it will become much easier to bring order to the matters you take in hand. This week also brings an important celestial movement. Jupiter is preparing to go retrograde. For some time, Jupiter has been moving through your spiritual sector, carrying an energy that has protected and guided you like an unseen force, offering opportunities behind the scenes of life. However, as Jupiter begins its retrograde motion, you may experience temporary slowdowns, delays, or postponements in these opportunities. But don't worry, dear Leos. This process actually comes to make you ask yourself, where did I go wrong? Which opportunity did I fail to fully seize? This few-month period will be a time to increase your self-awareness and to learn how to act when similar opportunities arise in the future. On the other hand, Mercury has begun its retrograde motion in your sector of love, children, and creativity. This may bring confusion, misunderstandings, or a lack of planning in your communication with your child, in your love life, or in creative projects. You may choose the wrong words when expressing your feelings or say something that should have been said last at the very beginning. Additionally, on Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars comes into play. This can trigger impatience, reactive tendencies, and, at times, aggressive behavior. Intolerance may surface, especially in your communication with your loved one or in your dialogues with your child. A small word or misunderstanding could grow into an argument, so it's very important to stay calm and manage your emotions this week. If you're involved in sports or lead an active lifestyle, you can release your inner tension through physical activities during this period. However, be careful not to push yourself too hard. Keeping both your body and energy in balance will be the healthiest approach for you this week. In short, dear Leos, if you move forward patiently and manage your emotions with awareness, you'll feel much more balanced, both internally and externally, this week. Wishing you a beautiful and peaceful week. Dear Virgo and Rising Virgo, this week, your social circle will be quite active. In group work or within a community, you'll be the one who stands out, organizing, leading, and directing things. Leadership will practically be in your hands, and you won't be able to relax until you've completed the important tasks you're handling. Fortunately, this busy pace won't last long. On Tuesday and Wednesday, taking a step back, giving yourself some time, listening to your inner voice, and resting spiritually will do you a lot of good. If possible, dedicate these 2 days entirely to yourself, because you've been both physically and mentally exhausted lately. You're also in a period where you'll realize that some people have been draining your energy or even pressuring you unnecessarily at times. On the other hand, Jupiter is preparing to go retrograde. For some time, Jupiter has been moving through your sector of social circles, friendships, and community connections. Thanks to this, you've received support from your network, met new people, and perhaps even increased your income through certain connections. However, as Jupiter begins to retrograde in this area, over the next few months you may experience some pauses, reassessments, or moments of realization in your social environment. During this time, you may question certain friendships and realize with whom you're truly in harmony. You may even understand that it's time to part ways with some people. If you experience temporary delays in your projects or collaborations, see it as an opportunity, because this process is actually showing you who you should continue forward with in the future. Meanwhile, Mercury is retrograding in your home, family, and domestic sector. Therefore, it's important not to make hasty decisions during this time regarding real estate, moving home furnishings, or vehicle purchases. The margin for error in your decisions may be higher than usual. Also, some issues within the family may get unnecessarily blown out of proportion. Tensions could arise especially in communication with parents, your father, or elders in the family. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars may intensify this tension. Even a small issue at home could escalate into an argument. That's why it will be important to control your anger and not let a small spark turn into a big fire. You may also be emotionally sensitive this week. A word or action from a family member could affect you more deeply than expected. In such cases, try to respond in a measured and composed way. Toward the weekend, your expenses may increase, so it would be wise to keep your budget balanced. Dear Virgos, this week offers you both inner awareness and a chance to find balance in your relationships. Stay calm, observe, and let things flow naturally. Wishing you a pleasant and peaceful week. Dear Libra and Rising Libra, this week marks quite a remarkable period for you. All eyes will be on you. People will reach out to you, seek your opinions, and you'll express yourself with confidence and strength. It's a week where you'll be in the spotlight. Your visibility will increase, and at the same time, family values will gain importance. You may want to spend time with your loved ones and strengthen family bonds. On Tuesday, Jupiter prepares to go retrograde. Over the past few months, Jupiter has brought you many opportunities in your career and status sector. Since the summer, you may have made progress in your professional life and public standing, earning respect and trust. Now, with Jupiter's retrograde motion, you may experience some slowdowns, waiting periods, or changes in plans in these areas over the next few months. During this time, you'll find answers to questions like, how well did I use the opportunities I had? Where did I make mistakes? In which areas did I fail to represent myself properly? Consider this phase as a period of reflection and awareness. Remember, even as Jupiter moves backward, it continues to support you. You'll just need to be a bit more strategic to move forward. Meanwhile, Mercury is retrograding in your communication sector. This may lead to occasional confusion, misunderstandings, or mixed information flow. For example, you might mix up a meeting time, send a message to the wrong person, or forget a promise you made. Technical issues with electronic devices are also possible, so it's a good idea to back up important documents. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars will intensify these effects. You may have a stronger tendency to make sudden remarks, speak harshly, or react impatiently, especially in communication with your close circle, siblings, relatives, or co-workers. Topics that make you say, "That's enough," could suddenly come to the surface. However, keeping your anger in check will help prevent misunderstandings from escalating. If you work in sales, marketing, or communication-related fields, your mind will be highly active, though overthinking may occasionally make you feel mentally strained. Therefore, try to rest and clear your mind as much as possible. Toward the weekend, the energy will ease up a bit. Socializing, taking a short trip, or spending enjoyable time with your loved ones will lift your spirits. Dear Libras, this week be cautious in both communication and professional matters. Instead of rushing decisions, aim to take balanced steps. Remember, balance is your true nature. Wishing you a peaceful and pleasant week. Dear Scorpio and rising Scorpio, you're starting the week with news from afar, business connections, and travel plans. Especially if you work in fields such as media, communication, press, or publishing, this week may be quite dynamic. You might find yourself running from one place to another, fulfilling promises, or trying to keep up with your plans. Therefore, paying attention to time management will be essential. If you're a student Scorpio, educational matters will take the spotlight this week. Although there may be some seasonal changes in the education system, you're going through a period that requires focus in terms of exams, projects, or academic preparations. Jupiter begins its retrograde motion in these areas this week. In recent times, it has offered you opportunities related to education, travel, trade, law, or international connections. Now, with Jupiter's retrograde, a period begins in which you'll review how well you've made use of these opportunities. In short, how well did you take advantage of the chances that came your way? What did you miss? In which areas did you need to be more careful? You're in a phase of awareness where you'll find answers to these questions. If Jupiter is already retrograde in your natal chart, you can view this period as one of recovery and restructuring, since in that case, Jupiter continues to support you in its own way. Meanwhile, Mercury has started retrograding in your sector of income and finances. This indicates that you should act cautiously in financial matters. Until November 19th, be careful with monetary transactions, investment decisions, and lending or borrowing money. Mercury's conjunction with Mars may also trigger impulsive reactions, rash decisions, or harsh words related to finances. During this time, avoid expressing your anger through money. Especially if you're involved in trade, impatience could lead to losses. Also, be cautious of fraud, scams, or misleading information. It would be wise to stay alert against potential money-related disputes with unexpected people. If you've experienced similar situations before, it's possible that similar themes could resurface. In short, staying calm, cautious, and strategic in financial matters will be the best approach for you this week. Avoid unnecessary risks and refrain from making hasty decisions. Dear Scorpios, as long as you direct your energy wisely, this week can be full of realizations that empower you. Wishing you a peaceful, controlled, and prosperous week. Dear Sagittarius and rising Sagittarius, this week is one of those filled with opportunities for you. As your ruling planet Jupiter prepares for its retrograde motion, you begin the week with financial matters taking the spotlight. Especially at the beginning of the week, you may feel the need to review your income-expense balance, organize your payments, or reshape your financial plans. On Tuesday, Jupiter begins its retrograde in your sector of shared resources and external income. This may bring some delays or postponements related to inheritance, alimony, taxes, insurance, bank loans, or premiums. If you work in fields such as mediation, consulting, joint financial management, or intercompany relations, you may notice a slowdown in these areas over the next few months. Rather than viewing these pauses as negative, focusing on the question, why is this slowdown happening, will be very instructive for you. Because Jupiter's retrograde doesn't always come to push you forward. Sometimes it comes to help you gain awareness and maturity. If Jupiter is retrograde in your natal chart, this period can actually act as a window of opportunity for you. Those born with Jupiter retrograde tend to see opportunities more clearly and make use of them more effectively during such times. Remember, Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, which means you are naturally lucky. This retrograde period will help you realize how you manage your money, how wisely you use your resources, where you tend to waste, and what you can improve. Meanwhile, Mercury is retrograding in your sign and will continue to do so until November 19th. This can bring some confusion in communication, thinking, and self-expression. Be careful of misunderstandings, hasty remarks, or incomplete messages. Additionally, on Thursday, the conjunction of Mercury and Mars can trigger sharp reactions, bursts of anger, or overly emotional responses in your close relationships. During this time, try to express your anger constructively rather than suppressing it. Suppressed emotions can turn into anger directed at yourself, which may lead to accidents, clumsiness, or stressful situations that drain your energy. The most important key for you this week: go with the flow, forgive, and try to understand. This approach will soften the effects of both Mercury's retrograde and Jupiter's retrograde motion. Dear Sagittarians, a calm yet insightful week that enhances your inner awareness awaits you. Wishing you a beautiful, abundant, and peaceful week. Dear Capricorn and rising Capricorn, this week, your focus will be on one-on-one relationships and your private life. You'll want to spend more time with your loved one, make joint plans, and create enjoyable moments together. Romantic exchanges may increase, and a warm energy could prevail in your relationships. However, on Tuesday, Jupiter begins its retrograde motion in these very areas. This means that if you've recently felt lucky in relationships, met the right people, or caught beautiful opportunities in love, a period of pause, reflection, or withdrawal is beginning. If you have important plans such as getting married, engaged, or stepping into a serious relationship, it's wise to allow a bit more time during this period. This is a time to review relationship dynamics and truly understand what you want. If Jupiter is retrograde in your natal chart, this period will be quite productive and supportive for you. However, if Jupiter is direct, this retrograde may cause delays, slowdowns, or uncertainties in certain opportunities. Be patient until March, and remember that some things need to mature. Meanwhile, Mercury is currently retrograding in your karmic sector. This can bring up past events or matters you thought were forgotten. Mercury's position here is connected to approximately 6-year cycles. So think back to November 2019. What were you experiencing then? Which issues challenged you and what had you changed? Now, similar themes may reappear in different forms. During this period, your partner's work, health, or unresolved past relationship matters may come back into focus. Additionally, Mercury's conjunction with Mars on Thursday may cause suppressed anger and emotions to surface suddenly. What you've held inside could be expressed abruptly, so avoid impulsive reactions or rash behaviors. There is a high likelihood that subconscious, suppressed emotions may emerge unexpectedly. This can trigger tension both in your intimate relationships and in your general interactions with others. Therefore, keep the motto "Think before you speak" in mind this week. Also, maintain your boundaries when people get too close. Keeping your distance will be important for your emotional balance. Feel free to respond if necessary, but avoid starting new arguments, as anything initiated during this time may escalate more than expected. Dear Capricorns, this week offers a chance to recognize your emotional depth and find opportunities for inner strengthening. Stay calm and don't let past emotions guide you. Wishing you a beautiful, balanced, and peaceful week. Dear Aquarius and rising Aquarius, this week, your focus will be on work, service, and health matters. Your daily routine, work pace, and lifestyle habits come to the forefront. You may pay more attention to what you eat and drink, as well as your overall physical well-being. Recently, you may have struggled in these areas, drifted from your routine, or found it difficult to regain your energy. Perhaps you've even gained a few pounds. Don't worry, we're all human. But here's the good news. Jupiter's upcoming retrograde will actually guide you toward greater awareness in these areas. Since June, you've experienced important developments in work and health. Now, Jupiter's retrograde brings a period to review the opportunities you've gained, the progress you've made, and the areas you may have missed. This period will also support decisions such as reorganizing your work conditions, approaching your health more consciously, changing your eating habits, or starting a new diet. So this retrograde is not as negative as it may seem. On the contrary, it signals a process that will help you regain balance. Some work-related opportunities may slow down, or some may appear to have slipped away. However, this gives you the chance to understand why and how they were missed. Some opportunities will come back, and this time you'll be able to evaluate them more effectively. Meanwhile, Mercury is retrograding in your social circle and friendship sector. This may bring up certain issues with friends or reopen old matters. Being honest in your communications is important, but be careful not to turn it into bluntness. Mercury's conjunction with Mars this week may make you overly active and speak without thinking, especially in social settings. Words that come out suddenly may surprise those around you or unintentionally hurt a friend. Therefore, try to control your reactions, as the power of words is stronger than usual this week. Additionally, you may feel a sense of competition towards some friends or people in your environment. Channel this energy into constructive actions that strengthen your career rather than into arguments. In short, this week is a period of awareness in both work and social matters. Pay attention to what you say, avoid hasty decisions, and direct your energy toward constructive areas. Dear Aquarians, be measured yet determined in your self-expression. Take care of your health and energy. By the end of the week, you'll feel much better. Wishing you a wonderful week. Dear Pisces and rising Pisces, this week you are stepping into the week with very pleasant and positive energies. You may find it easier to bring the plans you've been envisioning in your mind to life and feel that your ability to manage things smoothly has increased. Since June, Jupiter has been moving through your sector of love, pleasure, and creativity. As of Tuesday, it will begin its retrograde motion in these areas. This indicates that there may be some slowdowns or temporary pauses in your love life. If you have recently encountered romantic opportunities, small delays or withdrawals in these chances may now come into play. If everything has been progressing nicely, don't let a sudden drop in pace dampen your spirits. This period actually gives you the chance to see the realities of your relationships more clearly. For Pisces planning to have children, there may be some delays during this period. If you already have a child, matters related to them may also progress more slowly. However, all these slowdowns will bring awareness and guide you to take more accurate steps. If Jupiter is retrograde in your natal chart, this 3 to 4 month period will be highly supportive for you, dear Pisces. The events that occur during this time may provide long-term benefits. Meanwhile, Mercury is currently retrograding in your career and social status sector. This indicates that there may be some misunderstandings at work, in communication with your superiors, or regarding your public image. You may use incorrect expressions when explaining your goals and projects to others, or notice that your message has been misunderstood. If you need to make a presentation, hold an important meeting with your boss, or introduce a project, it would be helpful to review your words several times this week. Also, try not to leave tasks until the last minute, as impatience, tension, and haste during this period can lead to mistakes. On Thursday, Mercury's conjunction with Mars will take place. This influence may cause suppressed thoughts in your subconscious to suddenly surface. You may react unexpectedly in public or at work, surprising those around you. Pay attention to controlling your emotions, because even a small word could escalate into a major argument. During this time, communication with your mother may also be sensitive. Some disagreements or differences of opinion could arise, so try to remain patient. Overall, this week will be one of inner awareness, careful communication, and maintaining emotional balance for you, dear Pisces. Stay calm, let things flow naturally, and direct your energy toward constructive areas. Wishing you a peaceful and productive week, dear Pisces and rising Pisces.